What's up, everybody? This is Coach G. We're back here finally. It's been a long time since I made a training video, but we're in Photoshop now, and I want to introduce you to a tool basically that's going to let us remove the background really quickly from this basketball player. This is a amazing 5-star recruit. So we're using this image of him. We've got another layer underneath this player, and it is just the earth, okay? Just picked at random, has nothing to do with anything. So what we want is the background gone. So back in the day when I initially started a long time ago, I would get the polygonal lasso tool and I would zoom in like very, very close to my subject and like make a big selection around the entire body and then mask it out, right? So I mean, it's very, very time consuming, and this is still going to be time consuming. It's not going to take you it shouldn't take you, 3 minutes and you're done. You want to refine everything, look over every little detail. So that's very important. But the general selection of the player, removing it from the background is much, much quicker than what I just explained. Or like another option back in the day. Also, I would create a layer mask on that image and then zoom in, get my black brush tool and, carefully go through everything as close as possible. And it just was nuts. I mean, it would take a long time, but that's kind of how it was. So now, fortunately, what we can do is, let me get rid of that layer mask, right click, delete layer mask. All right, so I have the player's layer selected. It's that light gray, that layer right there. And what I want to do first is go up to the top where it says select. Then scroll down to select and mask. What's going to happen now is we are given this red opacity color over the image, over both layers actually. You can adjust it to just determine how much opacity you want on there. You'll see. I mean, I'm just gonna leave it at 37. It's fine, whatever. We've got a bunch of tools on the side, quick selection tool, and so on and so forth. The zoom tool, of course. But we are now within this little editor, and what I want to do first is hit select subject up top. So I'm gonna create a selection from the most prominent objects in the image, which in this image, of course, it should recognize using the artificial intelligence of the application to pinpoint this basketball player. So I'm pressing select subject and we can see he's no longer red. So that's good. We can zoom in and we can I can already see little flaws within the selection, but they're not too bad. I mean, around the hair, if we wanted to, kind of refine it, up here to the right of select subject is refine hair, and let's click on that, see what happens. I don't really like that. So you just kind of have to, tweak some of the selections. I press Control Z to undo that. I'm just gonna leave it as is. Honestly, this is a pretty decent, selection it made for us. So the next thing we want to do is we want to basically output this to a layer mask in our original little window we had a second ago. So output, if you look here on the properties panel for this select and mask feature that we're in, output to selection is what's initially chosen for us. You could have layer output to layer mask, and as a matter of fact, let's do that. Let's just output to a layer mask. I don't need to create a whole brand new layer, because I know it's going to be a pretty decent selection anyway. So, of course, just hit OK when we're ready to commit. And there we go. We're back to our little artboard with the player clapping his hands, looking very excited. I mean, look at the energy in him. It's just incredible. So, zooming in tighter. This image was okay. It was dimly lit. The picture's not the best in the world, but just using the move tool, I just moved this athlete over a bit. And let's just make a couple of changes to kind of fix this image. So again, first, I just want to zoom in really close and see things. Like, you need to look for the edges right here. Do you see how it is like yellowish? That tint did not pull well from the AI generated selection it made. So what we can do is create a new layer above the player, and I want to right click on that layer to create a clipping mask. Once I do that, you'll see what happens. Because I'm essentially going to paint over this, but I need to do a few things first. Let me get to my brush. Actually, let me click on the players layer first and get that little section, what you see here, the skin, all that, get that active. Get my color picker. You see that little sampler right there? So along this edge, I could sample this reddish color of his skin. It's almost like a brown it pulled up as, and it automatically did that layer. So if I came to this with the color picker and clicked on the blue, it would sample that. So I'm sampling right here, and I'll hit OK. So zoomed in with that brush, I need to go back up to that clipping mask layer I made, and anything I paint on out here won't be shown because it's only within this little image as to what is seen on the screen. So let me press the left bracket key to lower the paintbrush size, and watch what happens to that yellow tint. It's going away a bit, you know? So you want to go carefully over the areas that need fixing so that it does not look like some trash edit, you know, for lack of a better word. I think that, you know, I'm just rushing right now. I'm not really paying too much attention to stuff. This would be like non-destructive editing if I had a mask on it, but I don't. So really, like, I'm just painting. So I would have to go to an eraser if I wanted to go back, and I could just simply erase that little section and continue painting. Like, I could get another sample of this skin color up here, hit OK, and then I know it's probably a little difficult to see, but I'll zoom in really, really close. It's like this is his skin, and then this yellow tint we don't want. So again, I sampled, and I'm up trying to get rid of that tint. I would go around his entire body of, you know, this image and just see where things are. Like, if there's a bad pool, the hair is going to be huge because, I mean, just look at the hair. I mean, aside from how it naturally looks, we really want to get rid of that yellow. He does not have yellow hair back there. So let me, again, click that sampler and select that. And you see it's kind of matched it, but we're still on that clipping layer. Let me paint over that side, and you see it going away. You might want to, like, it's zoomed in really tight, so it's not going to be as good right now. Good meaning like you're going to kind of see little flaws, but what I would do is like make multiple samples, and then just keep painting over stuff just to kind of make it look a little bit more natural than just one solid color, if you know what I mean. So don't rush through this stuff. Control Z, Control Z, Control Z. Don't like that. So this yellow part right back here, I'm gonna make sure I click the player. Select that. Let's take that. Hit OK. Get that brush. Go back to our clipping mask layer. That's a little bit better. So let me zoom back out. And so just look at his hair. This is sized at 1080 by 1080 pixels. Your standard Instagram type size. So with the clipping mask on, I'm gonna remove it now. And do you see around his hair? Like, that's without that painting we just did along the edge. Here's where we did that little painting. It's just like a night and day difference, and it's just, you know, not the most time consuming thing in the world, but if you take your time and actually take pride in your work, you'll be able to create something that looks a lot better than just something somebody clicked a button and just was happy with the default setting it gave it. So another thing you might want to do with this image is the exposure is a little dark. So if I go down here to my adjustment layer, what I can do is click exposure. And then again, I also want to make a clipping mask to the basketball player. And I have exposure settings. I could kind of just like slide it a little bit over, and you can see the players getting lit up a little bit more. I shouldn't have done that with offset, but exposure, probably like something like that's okay. Let's see what gamma correction can do. Just tweak the sliders as you feel necessary. What you could do if you want to break it down even more is if he's in a background, like, or if he's like got the background of the earth or whatever, and there's this sunbeam and all this, it probably would be a little bit more realistic if there was some color on him. So again, this is just a ridiculous edit. There's no reason for a basketball player to be clapping his hands in space like this. I'm just showing you tools. So I'm sorry, but I'm going to create another layer, a blank layer, and let's sample more of this orange. I think that would be better. So a little bit of that orange right there, and then we go back to the blank layer. Let's put another clipping mask on the basketball player. Right bracket's gonna make our brush size increase, and you see how, okay, this is a bit harsh, but you'll see what I'm gonna do in a second. The light source is coming, let me undo that one. The light source is coming from the left side over here, so we would want to kind of mimic that as good as we can. So with that, that does not look good, but we can play with blend modes, and those can be activated by this drop down to the left of the opacity slider. So we're going to set the blending mode for this particular layer, layer 2, which is, we'll just call this like sunlight, whatever. I double clicked on that layer to rename it, and you know, just with the drop down, you can see different things that might or might not work for you. That one kind of looks realistic, the color dodge. So that's not it, but this is. That's not bad. Let's continue looking. There's a lot that are going to be good options. Just depends on you as the creative person. I think I'm going to leave overlay on. And so let me take this away and show you. Just little subtle changes like that make a big difference in the image. I mean, you can keep going, make this as ridiculous as possible, put clouds up there in front of him, I don't know, whatever, atmospheric stuff, I mean. But yeah, that's it. That was a quick, easy way to remove the background. I went on a long tangent there about retouching, but that's what you get in these lessons. So I'm glad you're back. I'm glad I'm back. Look forward to doing this a lot more. If you have questions, send me a message or something, but that's it. That's how you can quickly remove a background, and I hope that it helped you. Peace out.